Well, we're getting down to, as we say, the nitty-gritty of it all here in the ISRA's first season of their Xfinity Series inaugural season here, as we've reached the penultimate round of the championship here at Homestead, Miami. Originally was going to be the last race on the calendar. A little bit of shuffling made it Talladega, so we will survive. Everybody survives to one more week for the championship to go to next week. But that is what the plan is today. 130 laps here at Homestead. Hello again, everyone. I'm Gary Gotzo. Welcome to P1's broadcasting in cooperation with FTN of round 13 of the inaugural season of the ISRA Xfinity Series. We come to you tonight from Homestead Miami Speedway. Joining me momentarily in the booth is going to be Mark Murphy, who just did, I think, 125 laps here for the support race that is open the night. IndyCar's raced here for 125 laps. I think he said he finished fourth. Not too bad there for Murph. But we are watching qualifying here with about a minute 25 left to play. 5 drivers, 2 rounds, 1 championship. And we're watching one of the players right there, Matty Wagner, trying to hang on to the pack of 5 to get into next week's championship shootout at Talladega. Qualifying is underway. All right, there's Greg Evans right there, looking to entrench himself further in this championship. Started the season a couple of rounds in and has come on like the hottest thing in the series. He is the hottest thing in the series since he's joined the championship at the Charlotte round.
I remain surprised, Gary, that Mike Rigney and some of these guys have not put a bounty on Greg Evans. He's been that hot.
And here is Murph joining us. Yeah, so he missed the first 3 races of the season. Auto Club, Chicagoland, Richmond. Joined at Charlotte and has been hot ever since. As we are now done with qualifying. And we should get a starting lineup in here. So let's reset the field here. Or let's reset all these graphics. That's what I want to say. Here is the graphic for starting today. Homestead Miami 195 from the Homestead Miami Speedway. Let's get into this starting lineup, shall we?
Absolutely, Gary. On the pole with a lap of 162.044, Greg Evans. Surprising nobody in the number 7. Pepto Joe Flanagan. Just 79 hundredths off the pace, 161.656 for Pepto Joe in the 53. Michael Goodman and Stretch Armstrong are going to make up row 2. Rick D. Fowles in the 03 will go off 5th, followed by flanked by Sam Crow in the number 8. He'll go 6th. Keep an eye out for Sam Crow, a very, very, very good specialist saving tires. Host with the most, Mike Rigney, 7th. Brian Grain in 8th. Say hey, Lewis Hayes will go 9th. And rounding out your top 10, Bradley Sexton, nearly a half a second adrift of Greg Evans. 11th, we've got Big John Von Morales. 12th, Jake Euler. 13th, Justin Kirby. 14th, Matty Wagner. Stock car ace. 156 flat, Eliza Indrani. Els will roll 15th, Lionel Castillo, Evan Clapper, Hugo Galaz, Chris Reagan, and Richie Hearn did not take time. Overall, Gary, we have 20 cars signed in for tonight's action. Now, that might be the biggest field we've had in a good long while.
Yeah, it's very much true. It's good to see a good, solid field this late into the season. And I think a lot of people also want to witness this championship as well. 5 drivers, all in a very tight group at the top of the standings. We'll put that on here as we are getting ready to roll out on the pace lap. Let's bring those points up. And there you have it. Goodman is a leader by 1 over Callisto, by 2 over Crow. And then there's Evans and Wagner, who are, I think it's -6, I think, if I'm reading that right, for Evans, and -4 for Wagner. And then after that, it's Rigney, who's 25 out. Rigney kind of was in it as late as last week. I don't think he's in it any further. I really think it's coming down to this top 5 that's separated here by only 12 points.
Yeah, and it's one of those deals, too, where every point is a position, and so those top 5 are really, really, really close. Not much in it. That's 12 spots. You can easily make that up or lose it in one day. 20-car field being the biggest that we've seen thus far. Mike Rigney, don't think he's really got a shot to get back up there, but who knows? Crazier and wilder things have happened. You're not out of it until you're mathematically out of it. So, host with the most, still with a shot.
I do know experience with these cars. With little experience I do have experience here at Homestead, and the first couple of laps until these tires come up to temperature can be treacherous here at Homestead. Will we see an early caution? If not, I think we're going to see a long green flag run, as typical for the ISRA. Green flag for round 13 underway. And Greg Evans is making the roll to the championship right now, going into 1 as your leader, with Pepto Joe up high. But the championship rival, Michael Goodman, is in 3rd. Big run for Pepto Joe on the high side.
And as you're going to see, back in the pack, around Sam Crow, Rick DeFalis, Mike Rigney, Brian Grandin. Those guys were 2 and 3 wide, several rows deep. You're going to see that here. There are multiple grooves. You can run this place right around the fence. You can run it right around the bottom. You can run it anywhere in between. Multiple lanes.
Iridani got a loose coming off of 4, giving up all the positions, getting the car under control, but they fall back to 19th. Again, you got to let these tires come up to temp.
Well, it's not just temp, it's pressure too.
Yep.
Pressure too. Hugo Gallows goes for a lurid slide. Yeah, just the same kind of a thing. Richie Hearn is just now making it off a pit road. I don't know if that's a designed play, or if he had a penalty, or if he decided, hey, I want to start today 2 laps down. But that's where he's going to go. He's just now rolling down the access lane. Just so our viewers are aware, as Pepto Joe sets the fastest lap, 1:59.9. Just so our viewers know, at Homestead, you must pit in iRacing. You must pit using the warm-up lane in turn 3.
Okay, that's now a full-time rule here, huh? It used to be just the IndyCar oval. Okay, so now
it was that way. I just got done racing here.
Well, I know there's what they call the IndyCar oval rule, and then there's the NASCAR rule. And I forgot. It used to be they could come off of 4, but if you're telling me they changed, then that's going to make pitting a whole different ball game here, because it will involve a much longer delta.
So I think I have that right. Now, if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. But they should have to use the warm-up lane. If they don't have to use the warm-up lane, they don't. But the other part of the pit road here is, regardless of whether you have to use the warm-up lane getting in, you have to use it coming off.
Yeah.
And that baby is slick, Gary.
Slippery, slick.
It drives like James Bond laid the oil clip out of the back of the Aston Martin down there. It is like being on ice, and you got to be real careful. You got to be real careful coming off pit road, especially on new tires that don't have any pressure.
Bradley Sexton way up in the 3rd lane, looking for the grip strip up near the wall.
Yeah,
and he's following. He's kind of following Sam Crow. Sam Crow's doing the same thing. Move Crow up to 6th, Sexton up to 8th. Watch these
battle here.
Watch these 2 up on the high line. Rick D also the same way. He's up on the high line.
Now, one of the things we discovered in the IndyCar race tonight, and this may or may not apply here, but you either want to hook the bottom or you want to be right up next to the fence, above that top seam. You really don't want to be in the middle. So for the fans at home that don't maybe watch stock cars very much, aren't familiar with Homestead, open wheel cars, haven't been here in a long time, is this track is in its 3rd iteration.
Yep.
And the 3rd iteration of Homestead is very much like old Atlanta, except that it's progressively banked. And so the bottom, I believe, is 16, the middle is 17, and the top is 18.
Yep.
I believe I have that right.
Yep.
But for whatever reason, there's not a lot of grip in the middle. You either want to be right down on the white line, you either want to be right down on the white line, or at least against that bottom seam, or you want to be right up next to the top. And Sam Crow and Bradley Sexton demonstrating that.
Got tight there.
Well, he did get tight. He missed a corner. And so the other thing that happens here, and I did this a bunch tonight, it's really easy to overdrive the corner here because the track is perfectly symmetrical.
Yes.
There's not really
it looks symmetrical, but each end drives differently.
It does, and that brings me to what I'm saying, though, is even though the track appears symmetrical, it's not. You have to drive each side different or each end different, but there's no real marker to get into the corner, especially in 3 and 4. Those billboards that you see on the outside of the track, they don't really give you a good perspective. It's not like other tracks where there's a caution light or a mark on the wall or even a crack in the pavement that you can reliably say, okay, I need to lift here. And so it makes 3 and 4 especially very difficult to get through because you don't have a good visual marker to do it. And you can kind of see, if we ride along here,
riding along with Bradley Sexton right now, he's our biggest mover of the race.
Yeah, so you see in turn 1, if you see him go through turn 1, well, let me jump in for Bradley Sexton. So coming down the main straight, right, we're going to flash under the flag stand, and you've got a caution light up here. So you drive a heartbeat past the caution light, and then you kind of lift, okay? And then, you wait until the apex, start picking the throttle back up. You're going to come off the corner, get right out next to the wall. But watch down here at this end. There's no visual marker that tells me I should lift here.
Yeah.
So you see how he went well past where he did in 1 and 2 down into 3 and 4? Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Watch here. He's going to lift a lot earlier. Just past his caution light. He went a good 50 to 100 feet deeper into 3 and 4 because there's no visual cue down there that says this is where I need to lift. And so that's going to be the story here at Homestead. That brings me to the other story here at Homestead, which is tires. IndyCar, stock car, bicycle, your kid's wagon. The tires are going to get burned off here, and they're going to burn quickly. And when they do, it's just like the line in Days of Thunder. They melt, they get greasy, and you start slipping and sliding, and you're out of control. And the deeper and the harder you drive these cars early, the worse off they're going to be late. And Bradley Sexton, I think, is already starting to feel some of that. Brian Grandin just slid by on the inside.
Yeah, moves right ahead of him, but Sexton up 3 spots. Actually, the next biggest mover now is we watched it really change while we were riding along with Bradley is Evan Clapper. Clapper in the middle with Crow almost doing a little door banging there. Clapper up 9 spots.
Yeah, and like I said, I thought Sam Crow would be one of these guys that's going to be really good here because Sam, throughout the history of the ISRA, has been absolutely tremendous at saving tires. And so I would absolutely say Sam Crow, one of my favorites tonight, just because it's given long green flag runs. Sam's
Clapper getting door to door with Graydon, but he passes him and now is trying to hold him off position at the start finish line. Again, almost a little bit of door banging there. Look who else is in this group that's coming forward. It's one of our point stick challengers, Lionel Callisto. He's worked his way up to 10th.
He's got Jake Euler, and Jake Euler's been fast at points this year. He's right there. He's right there too. When you talk about him door banging off the corner, though, it's almost like a vacuum cleaner. They really do at this track more than any other. It almost wants to suck you together coming off the corner because the guy on the bottom's pedaling it, trying to keep the car straight. the car on the top almost has the goal on the top is to drive it straight off.
Big run by Callisto on the high side over Sexton, who's now given up those spots. We just noticed move Callisto up to 9th. Also involved in this battle in 8th, Sam Crow, keeping an eye on the guys in the top 5 in points. Meanwhile, up front, Michael Goodman. John Goodman, that would be awesome. Hey, guys. To have Sully here. But Michael Goodman, he is currently our points leader by 1 point, and he is our highest placed in the points championship, currently in 2nd spot, with Pepto Joe getting out to a pretty decent sized lead.
You weren't over there watching the Flintstones earlier, were you, Gary?
Oh, that's an awful John Goodman movie. It's either that, it's Revenge of the Nerds, or for John Goodman, or if you're gonna do it right, do Monsters Inc. as well.
The Babe,
maybe.
Either way, guy I'm watching right now that is moving past Sam Crow and is going to draw a bead on Jake Euler and Brian Grandin as they go 3 wide now around Bradley Sexton. That's Reagan and Say Hey Lewis Hayes going by him. The guy I'm watching that's doing something that I did tonight, and it's actually counterintuitive, but it works really well. Stretch Armstrong very quietly has moved up to 10th.
He's up. Actually, he's down 6 spots, but he's kind of recovering at the moment.
Well, so he is one of the guys that has been very loyal to the bottom. Have you ever been to a sprint car race at Terre Haute?
Heard him many times when I was on campus, but never been to the action track.
Okay, so if you ever go to a sprint car race at the action track, it's almost analogous to this. You'll have guys that run right around the rim, right around the top on a cushion.
Sure are. Yep.
All right. And we've got a car coming on the pit lane, and that is Richie Hearn back for another visit. But you're going to see guys run right around the top, right on the cushion, and that's
what Hearn. I think it towed. It might be having some issues trying to get it fixed with a tow or something. Nope, he's out. So something happened where Hearn had to get out of this race rather quickly. And now we're just down to the 19 that started the race on the racetrack with Pepto Joe as our leader. Michael Goodman now getting passed by Evans. Evans moved him up to 2nd now. Clapper getting around Rick D on the bottom still. Clapper is now in the top 5. Move him up 12 spots. Rigney's in 4th. That's the next person on his list. A lot of action here in the back here. We're right around Crow and Graydon and Reagan and Kirby.
But anyway, back to my point about Tara.
Wow, contact between Graydon and Crow, but they keep it going. But I think Crow had to lift a little bit. Here comes Reagan on the high side with a full head of steam and a good run in the 1.
I'm watching this battle, looking back from Stretch Armstrong, and that is just a wad of cars. And Stretch keeps pulling away, but what I was trying to get at was, you'll see guys riding right around a cushion, and then you'll see guys that are going very slowly right on the inside rail. And so right now Stretch Armstrong is the car that has been the absolute most loyal to that bottom.
Sorry, Graydon now, he's starting to fall back a little bit. Had to take Matt Wagner next to him, had to take evasive action. A car coming on strong now is Justin Kirby. We saw him kind of sitting in the languishing in the middle of the kind of 15th to 20th, and now he is on the move. I think the traffic is kind of starting to come to him, whether the race is coming to him rather than him coming to the front. He's been very consistent, and now he's moving on past Reagan, and now move Kirby up into the top 10.
So at this track especially, the top is faster in a stock car. However, it burns the tires more. The bottom is slower over 1 lap, but if you can remain committed to it, and you run it correctly, it's actually, and it's counterintuitive, I know, it's actually easier on the tires to run the bottom. And the other thing is, with the track modeling now and the progressive grip levels, you've got more guys running up top, which means it kind of wears it out a little bit. The bottom actually retains more grip as the race goes. And so watching Kirby, he's another one of those guys, just like Stretch Armstrong, just like Stretch Armstrong. There's another car up there. I believe that might be...
Yeah, Rick D's kind of falling back into this battle now. He started up front. He's down 4 spots now to 9th. Here's Kirby. Rigney starting to fall back as well. Rigney was in the top 5. He's back to 7th. It's Armstrong around Rigney now. Move him up to 7th. Rigney back to 8th. So now what I really enjoying about this race so far, and this is really one of the best series I like broadcasting all week long, and that says a lot considering how much I love the IndyCar Oval Series. Reagan getting power sliding there off of 10, or in the 10th spot off of 2, excuse me. But it seems like this particular race with this particular tractor, there seems to be all those guys that were very fast early, let's say in the first 15 to 20 laps, have all now fallen back, and those in the since then have all really moved forward rather quickly.
Well, and if they're watching the broadcast, they're going to start moving their line toward the bottom. All the guys that are running up
Greg
front.
Evans, Pepto Joe, battle for the lead. Evans on the high side, Pepto Joe down low. You're saying stay low, right?
Yeah, so if you're watching, whoever's in this race and watching the broadcast, all the guys that are running the bottom and lifting early and running the bottom, those are the guys going to the front. All the guys that are holding it wide open and staying up next to the wall, they're going to the back.
Championship implications happening right here. Callisto around Goodman. Move Callisto up to 4th. Clapper is now 3rd. Pepto Joe is fallen back to 2nd, but still within eyeshot of Greg Evans there. Now, Michael Goodman is starting to move back as his tires are starting to go off now as we're 28 laps into this first stint. Jake Euler getting around him. Move Jake up to 5th. Here comes Stretch Armstrong now on the bottom side for 7th. Looking at Michael Goodman here the next lap or so.
Now, we think out there, fans, we think that this is just going to be an even 3-stinter, 43, 43, 43, 130 laps. We think. I did some limited running. I was at Homestead today, but not in anything with a
ready to
roof.
go 3 wide to 3. Matty Wagner down low. Rigney in the middle. Reagan up top. Wagner is going to hold him off. And he's going to get all the positions coming off of 4. Move Matt Wagner now into the top 10, and that is critical for him to stay alive in this championship.
It is. And look, Mike Rigney decided that discretion was the better part of valor there and backed out of that, or that could have been a mess. Homestead is wide enough to run 3 wide, but you don't really want to do it, especially on corner exit. As the cars unload and they kind of accordion together up top, you really do not want to be 3 wide on exit. You can do it on entry, but you don't want to exit the corner that way. But Wagner's another one of those guys. He's just very calmly hooking that bottom, coming toward the front, saving his stuff. I think you can go 50 laps here, maybe, Gary. Maybe 55 if you're really cautious. Why would you want to? Because
that window is getting ready to open here in about 10-ish laps. We might see early pit stops occurring there.
Yeah, and I mean the stopwatch doesn't lie. So stopwatch doesn't lie. The purple lap, Pepto Joe 33.1. He's running 34.9s out there right now, 35 flat. Last time by for Pepto Joe Flanagan. So, they've lost almost 2 seconds worth of lap time off of these things. However, those were the guys that were running hard early. Might have used up a little bit of their stuff. Matt Wagner, a half a second a lap quicker than Pepto Joe in 2nd place. Almost 4/10 quicker than the leader that time. Other guys in that boat, Lionel Callisto, he saved his stuff. He's about.
How about Justin Kirby? He still continues to move forward.
He is. He's a little bit slower than Wagner, but he is. He's got the hammer down. He ran a 35 flat that time, but he had consistently been in that 34.6 range. Chris Reagan's doing a really good job. He's faster than the leader right now. You got a lot of guys that that saved their tires early, and they're able to go a little bit harder late.
Kirby around stretch for 6th. Move Kirby up to 6 now, just on the outside of the top 5. Your top 5 right now is Evans, Pepto Joe, Lionel Callisto, Euler, and Clapper. So the big 2 in that group of 5, championship-wise, is going to be Evans and Callisto. We'll just bring up the points one more time to remind you. Here they are: Goodman, Callisto, Crow, Evans, and Wagner is really the big top 5. And with Goodman falling back, Crow falling back, right now, mathematically, it's Callisto now. If we were to finish right now, would be probably in a dead heat with Evans for the lead. And if I remember right, in our interview with Evans, since Talladega is going to be such a wild card, I think I remember Evans saying that they really weren't going to play any games here at Homestead. If he was going to if there was one track that he wanted to try to get a win at before this championship campaign was done, was here as basically his stamp to let the field know that this is going to be his championship if he could win here, just in case something happens at Talladega.
Yeah, and you don't ever want to go into Talladega or Daytona, for that matter, in any automobile. If it's this, when we lose our minds and we do it in an IndyCar.
Yep.
Even in an endurance car, those races are just such wild cards. You don't ever want to go to Daytona or Talladega, or iRacing Super Speedway for that matter, needing a good finish.
We might see that next season in the IndyCar Oval Series.
Oh, please no.
Yeah,
please
I think
no.
iRacing Super Speedway is the last. They're going to do a week 13 next season for the Oval Series, and iRacing Super Speedway is going to be on the schedule, and we will have our doubleheader there when we move the IndyCar Oval Series over to P1 starting in September.
Yeah, and we got to thank the good people at FTN and the Elite Racing Network, VOR, for hosting our stuff. But I'm excited to see all of these things move to their new home. It's I don't know if Clindy said it last night. I was busy losing, but I don't know if Clindy said it last night, but. I know how much work you've put into it, Gary, and you deserve it. And I'm glad that we have a channel we can all be proud of, for sure.
There's Kirby around Euler on the low side here. And he had the position momentarily, lost it, trying to get it back, going into 3 now, going low, Euler high.
Speaking of low and high, remember I was talking about Stretch Armstrong and how good of a job he was doing saving tires?
He is an 8th.
The stock car ace just passed him. He was 7th, moved Matty Wagner to 7th, Stretch Armstrong back to 8th, and he's going to draw a bead on Evan Clapper here within the next 3 or 4 laps. He was 4/10 quicker than Evan Clapper, 3/10 better than Justin Kirby, quicker than Euler, quicker than Pepto Joe, quicker than Lionel Callisto, quicker than Greg Evans, fastest car on the track to 12. Stock car ace Matty Wagner going to the front.
Pit crews getting warmed up on pit road, getting ready to start lap 40 here of 130. We anticipate 43-44 for the window to open for everyone to start coming to pit road. I think this is one of those races that as soon as the pit window opens, you go.
Well, 2 schools of thought. Do you want to make it? Do you want to make it even splits? You are going to lose a lap. It is a tricky pit road to get on and off of. Do you want, if you pit early, you are at risk of losing a lap, and then once you lose that lap, you may never get it back. Or do you stay out? So do you take the undercut, or do you stay out as long as possible, knowing that you're going to lose a little bit up front? But if you stay out that extra 10 laps, and I had this tonight racing here, the first pit cycle came. Marco Brazil pitted 10 laps before me, and he was 4 seconds up the road when I came off of pit road. It took me 15 laps, and I blew by him like he was tied to a post because his tires were already gone, right? And I was a second lap faster. So,
and there is Lionel Callisto coming to pit road a little bit early.
Yeah, and I don't
And
know
he came off of 4.
Yes, he did, and did not get a penalty. So that answers that question. But that might be a little bit early because even if this is the window, right, 41, 42, 43, 44, whatever it is, that means your tires are just going to be that much more. Oh, Matty Wagner and Pepto Joe get together. Pepto Joe in the wall.
Oh, we'll go back and take a look at that real quick.
And they keep on trucking. Pepto Joe's tires are just really hurting. You can hear him playing with the throttle off the corner. Lionel Callisto on pit road, coming off of pit road now.
Watch this. Yeah, just Wagner right up into him. Bam. Just old tires all the way around for everybody there.
Yeah, and that's just a function of, again, when you're coming off the corner over there, you almost accordion together because this is one of those tracks where you fall out of the banking.
Yeah.
So there's nothing there to catch you on exit, and sometimes you got to use the other car to catch you. But back to this old tire, new tire thing. If you can stay out, the overcut pays off at the end. So if you can run it, let's say 7 extra laps here and 7 extra laps on the next one, by the time you come to pit road to get your final stop, the other guy's tires are already going to be in the dead zone. And then you're just going to be able to rip as hard as you want.
Something happened with Clapper. No, not Clapper. Somebody is slow on the backstretch. I'm not sure who it was.
I believe that was the 9 of Indiana.
I think Euler's out of gas. Yes, he is. Euler is out of gas. He is dead stick right now coming to pit road, and he has really no way of judging how fast he's going to be. So he's going to have to guess it without getting a black flag.
No, I mean, you've got the iRacing pop-up that shows gear and speed, and you've got the pit.
If he has it up, yeah.
If he has it up, which most guys do. So he should be able to do that.
That's a dead stick stop, and he needs to hit his marks because he cannot go back. Otherwise, it's a tow.
Yep. You gotta wonder how much of a miscalculation that is.
I don't hear anything happening, and he might be done. I don't know.
I think I got lefts going on.
Now we're moving.
Yeah.
Long stop.
Awfully long stop. Nice. There he goes.
23.8 second stop. Great if that was a sports car race, but not here in the Xfinity series. And that puts one of the guys that was up in the top 10 out of this, unfortunately, because the tank ran dry earlier than he probably anticipated. But we are now at lap 46. And let's go through the field. Lionel Callisto is your leader for stopping early. He is your leader by about a second and 8/10 over Greg Evans right there. There's only a few laps separating these two in terms of when they stopped. There's only 4 laps. So we'll see if Evans has the pace to catch back up to Callisto. I think he does. Going back to third, there is Kirby around the lap track of Iridani. Kirby is now moved to third. Clapper is now in fourth. Chris Reagan now in fifth, and he's in a battle right side by side with Matt Wagner. Now Matt Wagner in fifth. This is a very good run for Matt Wagner. He needs to run hard today in order to stay in this championship at least giving himself a viable chance going into next week.
Yeah, and he's doing a heck of a job. And look, he ran that as long as you could. He stopped at lap 45, so he's got the tire advantage now, and he's going to double that tire advantage on the next stop. But he was anywhere between 12th and 15th for most of that first run.
Yeah.
Now the stock car race is 5th, and he's got laps in the bank. So he kept the track position. That's the other huge thing. Now he is, 6.5 seconds behind Lionel Callisto, who is absolutely torching the speedway. But Lionel Callisto and Greg Evans and those guys, they fell off pretty hard at the end of that last run. Matt Wagner did not.
If you enjoy P1's coverage of the ISRA Xfinity Series on FTN, respect the stream, please do us a solid. Make sure you support us by subscribing. And while you're at it, don't forget to smash like and click the bell so don't miss out on next week's finale, Championship Monday at Talladega. Same bat time, same bat channel. You won't want to miss it. We'll have as many as 5, but maybe as little as 4 or 3. We'll see after the points are tallied after this race of three or more drivers, let's put it that way, of having a shot at the championship going into next week's race at Talladega. So please like, share, subscribe, and that would mean a lot to us and to the guys at FTN. Thank you very much. And we are at lap 50 of 130. Everything's going pretty smoothly so far for Lionel Callisto.
As a bonus next week, Gary will have a competent broadcast partner because I will not be here.
And we'll be joined by Antonio Estrada, El Patron.
That's right. That's right. Good guy, Antonio. Love racing with him, the open wheel stuff. But happy that you'll have somebody that knows what they're talking about for a change. Really, Evans and Callisto have kind of taken a walk from everybody. You know, there's a second and a half between Evans and Callisto. But then it's another 3.5 back to Kirby. He's kind of got Clapper with him.
Yeah, he does have Clapper right there. Yep.
Those guys are, but they're not racing hard. They're just kind of running along together.
They're going to be joined very shortly by Wagner. Wagner is now around Iridani going into 3. Iridani up high, and that's going to allow Wagner on the bottom. Iridani running that middle line right there. And then right behind Iridani is Reagan. Iridani is going to stay down low. Reagan's going to go up high. Reagan now follows through in direct contact with Wagner. So both these two are coming up into this top 4 battle very shortly.
Yes, they are indeed. I would anticipate, based on what we saw in the first run, I'm going to say that you're gonna see Wagner. You're going to see him get by Clapper and Kirby, or at least get to them somewhere around lap 70 to 75. And then from there, can he get past them? Is it a situation where he wants to pit with them? Does he want to go long again? He can have as many as probably 6 laps if he wants them over Callisto. So there is that. The other thing is, you wonder how much Greg Evans is just saving his stuff. Evans has a 4-lap tire advantage over Lionel Callisto, 5-lap tire advantage. So how much is that going to play at the end of this run? We know Lionel can run it hard, and we know he can run it loose over the short term. But is he going to be able to hang on until lap 86, 87, which is what you need to do to get to the end? Still watching Lionel Callisto lead from Greg Evans, Justin Kirby third, Evan Clapper fourth. Matt Wagner will round out your top 5, just to kind of go through the rest of the top 10. Chris Reagan, a fine run 6th. Pepto Joe Flanagan 7th. Stretch Armstrong 8th. Michael Goodman 9th. Rick D is 10th. Sam Crow 11th. Mike Rigney 12th. Bradley Sexton 13th. Big John Bombarellis 14th. Say Lewis Hayes 15th. Brian Grandin, Hugo Galez, Eliza Indriani, and Jake Euler with that pit road running out of gas mishap will be 19th. Richie Hearn out of the race in 20th. Gallas, Indriani, Euler 1 lap down. Everybody else 16th up on the lead lap, working at lap number 58 working lap.
Yeah, we're coming to 58 here soon. Now, 130. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And Evans is now the Callisto.
Yep, and you figured that was going to happen. Evans right down along the bottom, lifting early, just letting the car float in there, set itself, very easy on the throttle off. Lionel Callisto charges the corner, keeps it wound up on the high side. It is harder on your tires, but slightly faster to do that.
You can kind of tell by the puffs of fire coming out of the exhaust on Callisto when he's getting out of the throttle versus when we're running with Greg Evans right now. You can hear when Greg's out. Callisto's driving it much, much deeper.
Yeah, and that's something that's unique to stock cars with the side, with the side exhaust, and the EFIs, and not the true, the throttle bodies on these cars. They call them fuel injected, but they're the same technology that it's in a 1983 Ford. There's throttle bodies. Let's be fair, but the uniqueness of seeing the flames come out the pipes is a huge call out, Gary. You can tell so much about the way a guy is driving and what his aims are just by watching the pipes. I have to thank my lovely wife, Miss Natalie, just came in with a bit of sustenance and a soft drink for me.
There you go.
It's been a long night, Gary.
Yeah, you had 125 laps at Homestead, and then another 130 with these guys.
I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to talk to Rigney about that. Can we at least switch the tracks up a little bit?
Well, sometimes when you put these league schedules together, you don't really know what happened. I was telling the people in the pre-show before you pop back on there. Originally, this was supposed to be the season ender, and he had a race. Oh, Callisto getting squirrely on the high side, coming off the exit of 2. Originally had this scheduled for this was going to be Memorial Day. This race was going to be on Memorial Day. I'm like, I think people might want to, after a long weekend of Indy and everything, people might want to, I don't know, enjoy their Mondays and have a barbecue and not have to worry about sim racing. And he's like, okay. And so that week was supposed to be Talladega. And so he moved Talladega to the bottom, just simply, instead of moving everything forward one, he just moved Talladega to the end of the season. And that's how Talladega became the season ender. But otherwise, everyone would have been racing on Memorial Day. Evan's still trying to get around Callisto. He's there. Look at him in the middle, just the difference of getting back on the power, staying off the power, and he just moves right on by in the middle of the corner.
Now, Callisto's going to get the cut back here. If he wants it, he doesn't want it. He didn't want it, but you saw where that was available. Greg Evans came up, slid up in front. Lionel Callisto could have easily cut that car back to the left and driven right under Greg Evans. He didn't do it, I think, mainly because I think Lionel realizes his tires maybe now past their sell-by date. And he's just going to kind of
Evans isn't going to be, his sell-by date's only about another 4 laps from now, if that's the case. I mean, they only stopped 4 laps. The big thing is for Callisto is can he make it? If this thing goes green all the way, can he make it on just the 2 more stops that we think everyone needs to go? Because remember, he stopped early. But by virtue of stopping early, he got new tires and then came out really, really quick and had a big 2+ second lead on Evans until Evans started eating into it.
And that's true. He's still got another 20 laps before he can stop. And I'm watching Lionel Callisto, on board with the madman. I'm just once again in awe of how loose he drives that race car.
I think we got a good. I might have a better camera shot. Let's take a look here of Lionel. And,
it's so foreign to me.
There you go. Watch his hands.
It is so foreign to me.
Look at the counter steer. Look at the counter steer. Look. Oh.
It is so foreign to me to see somebody do that. Because Gary, what's rule number 1 of driving the cars that I drive on an oval?
Don't counter steer.
Do what?
Don't counter steer.
If you counter steer a ground effects car,
and it catches, And if you want 2 really good examples, the best one to watch, because the outcome's the more positive of the one, is Sebastian Bourdais, and I think it's 2017, the last year of the EW12s, on a pole run. Or it wasn't going to be a pole run. It was going to be probably a front row start run. and he got squirrely in turn 2, counter-steered, and then shot directly into the wall right in front of the Riley Children's Hospital Foundation suites there in turn 2. And it was a huge wreck. It's a monumental wreck, really. And how he managed to walk away from that one, because it reminded me so much of the Gordon Smiley wreck, other than the way that the car disintegrated. It didn't disintegrate like it did in Smiley. But, and of course, the outcome was much more positive than Smiley. Smiley perished in his wreck, whereas Sebastian walked away, and then a few weeks later, he was back in the car again. We saw Euler on the apron again. I think he's coming off a pit road there, so that might have been a early stop or something, maybe for he had to execute the fast repair. Only see one person has used their fast repair all race long, so.
Yes, and that would be Eliza Indrani.
Yep.
To use their fast repair.
I'm not just Kirby. We're watching. Sorry, I was watching in car with Callisto so long, didn't realize Kirby was up on him. Kirby now passes Callisto and moved Kirby up to second.
And all that counter steering is fun to watch. It's amazingly entertaining, and hats off.
But it slows you down, and I think he might have just tapped the wall going into 3 and 4.
Well, he's not only that, but you're burning tires up.
Yeah.
And tires here, just as much as they are at Darlington or Old Atlanta or, Iowa when we go there, tires are a commodity, and they're to be preserved and husbanded and carried throughout a run in a race. Like you really manage tires, and what a contrast between Lionel Callisto, who has more or less melted the Goodyears on the back of the two. What a contrast between him and Justin Kirby, Matt Wagner, Evan Clapper.
Wagner and Clapper are in direct contact now. And I think it's just a matter of time before Matty gets around him. He's working him, though. Clapper's holding them off. Lap 71 of 130. If we move Wagner up to the top 4, then that really puts Sam Crow and Goodman, even though Goodman is the points leader, in a very difficult spot because they are much deeper in the field right now at the moment.
Absolutely. Also, the crew of Clapper and Wagner, they are 0.3 a lap quicker than Lionel Callisto and running about the same speed as the leader. Somebody else that's also running those same lap times, although a little bit further back, Pepto Joe Flanagan. Clapper, tell you how close that trio is in speed. Excuse me. Clapper ran a 34.665 to Wagner's 34.629 to Pepto Joe's 34.626 that last lap. So those three cars separated by what? Call it 39 thousandths of a second. It's not bad.
Now let's give you updates on stint lengths right now. Evans went 45 on his first stint. He is now 27. Kirby went 44. He's now at 28. Callisto went 41. He's at 31 now. So the window for him to pit, if he goes by that number, is in about 10 laps from now. Clapper went 43 on the first stint, is currently at 29. Wagner at 44 is currently at 28. And Pepto Joe at 44 is currently at 28 as well. Pepto Joe with the purple lap with 33.134. That's your top 6. It's kind of all the guys right now that have the pace to really keep up with the leaders. Chris Regan right there on the edge. Your points leader, Michael Goodman, is in 9th. And I'm not going to say he's struggling because we still have quite a ways to go. And he might pop up with a pit strategy into the lead group. But right now he is buried back in 9th behind Armstrong, ahead of Rick Fallis. Rick D currently in 10th, the last car on the in the top 10. Behind Rick D is Sam Crow. And right now, as the race were to finish, this is Crow's worst performance of the year, which is very unlike him. He is more normally reliable on top 10s, even more reliable on top 5s. And right now he is out of reach out of both of those right now and really, really needs to get back up in there. But again, we do have a long way to go still here. Only 75 of 130 in the books. Pit stops are soon.
This race is just getting warmed up, Gary.
Yeah, I think so. That's how I feel about it.
This is about the time that I told Sam Carosella tonight, this is fun. We're having fun.
Is that when you texted me as well? When did you text me during the race?
It was under yellow.
Okay.
But I did text Gary and said, this is fun. We're having fun. Just about.
Now, you guys had a pretty good qualifying effort. There was all your teammates were lined up pretty much all in a row right there when you started that race. I noticed that as well.
Well, that's when you know you're getting the most out of the setup. When the three guys running it qualify within 0.005 of a second of each other, that's when you know that's pretty much what you got, right?
Yep.
Yeah, man, massive kudos to Seb.
Okay, here is the battle. We just watched Callisto lose a spot to Clapper, and now here's Wagner on the bottom side. They've reached Callisto, who was currently in third. And now Callisto is just kind of pedals it back, and he's now in fifth. But he is, we think, he is about 4 to 5 laps away from possibly his next stop.
Yeah, well, the longest anybody went on that first run was Greg
45.
Evans at 46.
Yep, 45.
Right.
At least
45.
that's what my overlay is saying, 45. I might have, maybe it was 46, but I don't know.
45, 46. So at the very least, he needs to stay out until lap 85.
It's another 7 laps from now. That's an eternity, really, for a car that's now starting to fall through. Was in the lead no more than 20 laps ago, and now it's starting to fall through the field.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? The other thing is, Clapper, Kirby, and Wagner are doing the thing that they did before. They are steadily climbing toward Greg Evans. I think Wagner's probably a little bit quicker than Clapper. Kirby is running the same times as Greg Evans, although he's a couple of seconds back. These guys have played this just about right. Now I'll tell you, Callisto's going to have to be careful in these next 6 or 7 laps because, he's closing in on falling into the clutches of Pepto Joe Flanagan, Stretch Armstrong, and Chris Reagan. Those guys are separated by about 5 seconds, 6, 7, and 8. And he's losing. He's giving up 2 or 3 tenths a lap. So if he's not careful, he's going to fall back to them before too much longer.
There is your leader, Evans. He pitted last on lap 45. Or excuse me, on 46. And he currently has himself a 1.9 second gap over Kirby, and Kirby is closing the gap.
You got Lewis Hayes coming off of pit road. He's made his final stop. That might be right on the edge of disaster. I don't know that Lewis Hayes is going to make 51 laps. He just came off pit road, so Lewis Hayes, 18th, final car on the track, just comes down pit road. That'll put him 2 laps down, and it could have just been a situation where Lewis Hayes said, "I've had enough."
He does have another set of, I believe he has another set of tires there, so if there's a caution late, he can always go throw those on. So he's not, it's a decent gamble.
Yeah, especially if you're uncomfortable and you're headed toward the back anyway. Why not come get a set, right? Put them on, turn the car into a rocket ship.
Sure.
And if there's a late yellow, take the wave around, get the lucky dog, do what you got to do. He's certainly going to go past Gallows and Andriani. He'll be the first car a lap down. Rick D, Michael Goodman, going past Lionel Callisto, who has thrown in the towel. Lionel Callisto hits pit road, lap 83 of 130. So
still early. He didn't make it to 87 that you were talking about. So he took it as far as he could, down and away.
I think he was hanging on for dear life. 40
Evans
lap.
putting a lap on Graydon right now. So Graydon was running 14th. Now he is now on lap. Top 13 on the lead lap. Last car on the lead lap is Big John, who's currently just up the road a piece from Evans by about 4 seconds. And then he's coming to pit road. So he's going to give up that lap, but he's going to gamble that putting on new tires will be faster in the short term to get that lap back over Evans.
Now, if you're these guys that are short pitting here, you're going to have to get out there and get the hammer down. You're going to have to go as hard as you can. Look, you're probably not even going to make it to the end if you're some of these guys, Big John Van Veralis on pit road now. If you're some of these guys making a stop now, you might not make it to the end of the race. So you're going to have to, there's no saving anything now. If you run hard for 25 laps and melt them, you've got one more set, right?
Well, here's the power. Not to cut you off. Here's the power of new tires. Here comes Hey Lewis Hayes with a head full of steam on our leader, and he's just going to blow right by him like he's not even there.
Yeah, you're just saying, look, okay, I'm going to come out, I'm going to strap on new tires, I'm just going to go as hard as this thing can go, and hope you get a caution just right after Greg Evans and Kirby and Clapper and Wagner and them guys pit.
Kirby 1.1 now up to Evans, so he's got it really closer now, but he's got a car, like we said, here is Big John with those new tires, and he's going to get around. He's going to get around Kirby, and depending on where he catches Evans, he might actually cause Evans to check up a little pace. We'll see. We are now at lap 41 of this stint for Evans. He went 45 last time. So the next 4 laps or so, he's been a bulk of this stint as your leader, and not much fuel conservation going on. I don't think we're really worried about fuel conservation in this particular race, but he is out front, so he is punching the hole for everybody. Wagner now side by side with Clapper at the start-finish line. Callisto with fresh tires is involved in this battle as well. He'll want to get around these guys just for track position. Move Wagner up to third. Callisto just going to scream right on by on the bottom with new tires. People on pit road. Rick D on pit road. Graydon on pit road. Sexton coming off of pit road. Hugo Gallas just moving up a spot here as he's staying out. Sam Crow, there he is in 8th. He's due on pit road in the next lap or so. We'll reset the field after everyone pits. Here's Evans down a battle with Pepto Joe. Pepto Joe has fresh new tires. There he goes on the high side, just right on by. You can see how well Evans actually is holding off a car with new tires. I think a lot of that is he's really light into the corner and fast off. Kind of as an example of a Winston Cup or a Stock Car Cup Series driver that does that. Used to do that back in the day. I seem to remember like Kyle Petty used to be easy on, hard off the corners. That was kind of his MO.
Which is why he was so good at Rockingham.
Yeah,
right?
and Dover. Yep.
Dover, tracks that eat tires, he was always really good at for that reason.
And here comes Greg Evans to pit road.
Now this is just about right, lap 90, so 40 to go. Not going to have to save as much tire. Kirby, Callisto, Callisto's back now. Lionel Callisto is back now back up to third. Wagner has stopped. Clapper stopped. You've got Pepto Joe
watching down. Here comes Kirby to his stall down. All right. Drivers get to work, or the pit crew gets to work onto the right side, then move to the left side. Fill it up full of fuel. Send him on his way. Complete the stop. Let's see what the time comes in as. 14.7 on pit road.
Good stop for Greg Evans.
Now, let's see. Kirby actually gets around him. Kirby is 2 laps later. He pitted two laps earlier, excuse me, so 2 laps older tires. And he is now your leader by about 3 seconds, I think. So that's a pretty good transition there for Kirby. Let's reset everything real quick. Here's your race summary. 91 of 130, 39 laps to go, 5 lead changes, no caution, pretty much the MO for this league. Callisto also got around Evans. We saw that a little bit further on back. Currently your leader is Justin Kirby, who's up 12 spots from where he started. Callisto up 14. Here's your weather conditions. The temperature is track temperature, not ambient temperature, so it's 80 degrees track temperature. Very comfortable out there for these cars.
Yeah, not too hot, not too cool either. At nighttime, and you're running, 76 air, 80 track, that's just about perfect. Just about perfect weather for any type of racing car. Justin Kirby has come out 2.7 seconds ahead of Greg Evans on that exchange. So
yeah,
Evans got a little bit of work to do. I don't think they really have to worry about Callisto just on fuel. Lionel's been out there 11 laps, and we think 46 is about all you can do. So
yeah, he'll have to get a splash, and I think this is going to cost him really his shot in the championship. It's really tough to say why he pitted at lap 41-ish to kind of start him down this route. I mean, he did lead a good portion of that second stint, and he's now in front of Evans, and Evans is tracking him down, but unless there's a caution late or something, he's just not going to make it on fuel. And I got to think that's going to cost him his shot at the championship right now.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. You never know if there could be a caution or something like that. Caution like that happens. But Callisto, Sahe Lewis Hayes, Big John, those guys are going to need a yellow. Same way with Eliza Andriani. They're going to need a yellow just to make it home, or they're going to have to come and get a splash, or they're going to have to save. They're going to have to save something fierce. Now, the thing is, the way you save fuel, coasting in the corners, not getting back to the gas so hard on exit. Those are the things that also save tires.
Yeah.
So, you might save some tire, but it's going to save some gas too. But that's an awful big ask, I think, of Lionel Callisto to make it. That's an awful big ask for him to make it 47 laps.
Yep. Once again, if you're just joining us, you're watching P1's coverage of round 13 of the ISRA Xfinity Series on FTN, coming to you from Homestead, where currently Justin Kirby leads with we're just shy of 30 laps to go. Make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on the next race. Also, this is your next to last chance. If you have not donated to the broadcast yet, now is a really good time to do that. We do these for free for the ISRA for this season. And we rely on your donations to help keep licenses paid for, graphics looking sharp, overlays working correctly. The whole 9 yards. We've got to have the tracks, got to have the cars, you name it. So if you have not given to the donation already to the broadcast, it is in our GoFundMe campaign is in the description. The link to that GoFundMe campaign is in the description. Click on that, and whatever you can give, $1, $2, $3, $5, $10, whatever you could give is greatly appreciated. We do realize that people are having a hard time keeping ends meeting, and we understand that. So any contribution you do send our way, we certainly do appreciate it. It's our way of bringing you quality coverage all season long at the ISRAs. This week and next week are the last 2 weeks to do that. So please don't forget us if you can. If you're watching this after the fact, make sure to head to your computer, go to our GoFundMe campaign, shoot a few bucks our way. We certainly would appreciate it. We're coming to lap 100.
Yeah, so 30 to go. Justin Kirby, your leader. Greg Evans has cut it down to just under 2 seconds now. Consistently 2 to 3 tenths a lap faster. Evans has decided it's go time. The pay window has started to open. The 7 is coming to the front. Lionel Callisto already feeling the effects of those old tires. He is falling rearward toward Clapper and Wagner. Speaking of cars that are climbing, Pepto Joe was the second fastest car on the track that time, or third fastest rather. The fastest car that I can find on my scoring monitor, Stretch Armstrong, P7, 33.858 that time. Now he's 15 seconds behind the lead, but Stretch, plenty fast here in the closing stages at Homestead.
And it should be pointed out next to Goodman's 3 poles. Pat here, Stretch Armstrong as we call him, also has 3 poles this season.
Do they get point for pole in this series?
I don't think so. Not sure. I have to ask Rigney for clarification on that one. Now I believe this is Evans' first pole. Second pole. He had one earlier this season, so.
Gotcha.
Just a reminder on how the points came in to when we got here. Michael Goodman, and let's get the camera on Michael Goodman here. He's back in 9th. He was the leader coming into today's race by 1 point over this guy in 3rd, Lionel Callisto. Lionel Callisto had a 1 point lead for 2nd over this guy, Sam Crow in 10th. He's in 3rd. Sam Crow has himself a 6 point lead over this guy, Greg Evans, who's currently in 2nd. And just 4 points behind Evans is this guy, Matt Wagner. That is your top 5, separated by 12 points.
And good days for some of those guys, and not so good days for some of the others. So hard to do what Michael Goodman's doing right now. He's kind of on an island. He's got 3 seconds of the car in front, 3.5, 2 to the car behind him. There are times he cannot see the next car. It's almost like you're in a glorified practice session when that happens. It'd be so hard because you want to, your mind starts to wander a little bit. You start thinking about other things, mainly like how much longer is it going to be before I'm actually in contact with another car. And so kudos to Michael Goodman for keeping it going.
That's Sam Crow behind him. That's going to be a battle for position very shortly. And that's going to be pretty critical into the championship as well. So he definitely wants to stay ahead of Crow.
He does indeed. Kind of looking at the life and times of Lionel Callisto right now, he has backed the entry way off. He's not shutting the car off, but he is not he's not sailing the car nearly as hard off.
Oh, here comes Clapper, and Clapper's actually put some distance between himself and Wagner. Yep, saw that. We're riding along with Callisto.
And that's Clapper's gonna be there very shortly. He was 0.6 of a second quicker. And Callisto's coming to pit road.
Interesting. We didn't see that coming. But we knew we didn't know it was going to be then. We knew he had to stop. Let's put it that way.
Well, so that's kind of the thing, right? He's just going to divide it in half. He's not going to need much gas, and so Lionel is going to get, maybe a gallon or 2. I think that you can adjust these things in 1.6 gallon increments. So he's probably going to take, 3 clicks of gas here, put new tires on it, come back out. He's going to have a light tank, which is going to change the handling. Usually in a fixed setup, lighter tank makes the car handle a little bit better on sticker tires. He's going to take his last set. He's going to go back out. He's going to be a lap and a half down, but that car is going to be a rocket ship for 25 laps. He is going to be, or should be, at least a second a lap quicker for the next 25 laps. And it's probably not going to be enough to get him all the way back up. It's probably not going to be enough to get him all the way back up to the win, but he might be able to crack, he might be able to crack the top 6 or 7. And that's going to be something to keep tabs on The other car that we would look to be coming in would be, say, hey, Lewis Hayes. He's been out for 29 laps now. So, say, hey, Lewis Hayes has got to be thinking about that same kind of a deal. My tires are gone now. Might as well come in and get the last set. I can't make it anyway. I would expect, say, hey, Lewis Hayes on pit road at any time now, Gary.
In a battle developing for Rigney and Sexton here for the bottom portion of the top 10. Rigney in 10th. Sexton right on him for 11th.
Now, that's been developing for a while. They were side by side a couple of laps ago. Bradley Sexton did not that position changed hands, and I didn't catch who it was. The scoring pylon flashed red for me, so I knew they changed. Mike Rigney quite a bit faster than Bradley Sexton,
and not too far behind them is our leader, actually.
Yeah, and that's going to be a minefield for Kirby too. Does how do you navigate the lap traffic? We haven't had a lot of that. Today, but Kirby and Evans are both coming. The gap for those two has very much stabilized at about 2 seconds.
Yep, 2 seconds.
2 seconds, and you don't know if Greg Evans is going to cool him off to give it one last shot here, if that's all he's got. They have fallen about a second off of their ultimate pace at this point. Evan Clapper firmly ensconced in third. He's about 7.5 seconds behind the front duo. The stock car race another 1.5 behind Clapper in fourth. Pepto Joe 3 seconds and a bit in fifth. So the rest of the top five is very spread out. The battle for the lead is actually, other than Rigney and Sexton, probably the closest one on the track.
And we are watching right now Evans and Kirby. Less now to 20 to go, 19 to go, 18 to go.
Evans now inching closer to Justin Kirby. Got it down to 1.8 seconds. 1.9, just a little bit closer. Just kind of watching Greg Evans, Justin Kirby. Evans a little bit more than a tenth quicker that last time by. We'll get you a lap time as they come to the line this time. Justin Kirby 34.590 to 34.482. So Greg Evans inching closer and closer now, 1.6 seconds. Don't know if he's got enough time to get there. At this rate, he might get there, but getting to a guy is one thing. Passing him is definitely another. But Justin Kirby now, he is to Evan Clapper, to this duo, Rigney and Sexton, that are running for the last bit of the top 10, 10th and 11th. When he gets there, how much is that going to affect his car, right? When you get behind another vehicle, dirty air, we talk about it a lot in the open wheel stuff. Stock car is not as affected by it, but it does affect them. And so how much is that going to play? And certainly Rigney and Sexton don't need to move over. They're in a battle for a significant position, so they don't necessarily have to move over for Kirby. Kirby's quite a bit faster, but Rigney and Sexton are having a nice battle for their own position. And like I said, they don't necessarily have to move over for the leader. So be interesting to see what happens and how that plays into the battle for the lead. Meanwhile, Justin Kirby has picked up the pace, just about the same lap time, within 0.02 of a second that time for Kirby and Evans. So those two are right about the same when it comes to lap times here.
13 to go. Leader by 1.6 now over Evans is Kirby.
Those two have kind of been trading haymakers when it comes to lap
Kirby's in lap traffic at the moment. He needs to get around Sexton here. Sexton, who is in 11th, wanting to stay on that lead lap. As you mentioned, he does not want to give that up. He does not need to, especially since he's racing Rigney in 10th, who's right in front of him. That's just going to slow down. It's just really going to slow down the leader.
It is.
The leader's actually now made his way around him, though.
Yeah, he's gotten, but well, he's got past half, right? So he got by Sexton. Now, knowing Mike Rigney, he's not going to put up a huge fight here because he knows that he knows that Kirby has gotten by Sexton. He knows that that's actually given him a little bit of breathing room in their own little private battle here. So Mike Rigney
look, Rigney goes to the bottom of the racetrack there.
Yeah, I'm just going to pull over and
actually,
let him go.
I think Rigney actually sacrifices almost his own position as a result of doing that. So maybe he's going to get back to racing Sexton. Maybe he's confident that he can get back by Sexton. But they can only race for a couple more laps before Evans is there. And also, you mentioned Callisto around Evans. So now Evans has 3 cars between himself and the leader, one of which is going to be really, really fast.
Yeah, Callisto is charging into this thing, sabers drawn. Lionel needs to get around Justin Kirby to put himself back on the lead lap. So if there is the caution, he can come and hit pit road. And wouldn't that be worth the price of admission to see Lionel Callisto in the back on new tires with a 5-lap shootout?
And Lionel Callisto, that's all for position for Callisto right there. That's 11th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So move Callisto now up in the top 10, 1 lap down. Will he get up any more into the top 10? We'll see. 10 to go as he's going to get a run on Kirby. Probably catches him down the backstretch. Probably catches him. It's going to catch him midway between 1 and 2 and probably finish off the pass going on to the backstretch here.
Yeah, and he's a second or more a lap faster than the guys that he's racing around.
9 to go, and then we see Evans now around Rigney, and now he's trying to get around Sexton. Oh, Sexton in the wall, so that's just going to make Evans' job that much easier as he moves right around, and now Evans in direct contact with Kirby with less than 8 to go.
How much tire does Greg Evans have in the tank? Stretch Armstrong just got around Pepto Joe. Put
watch.
The 29.
Let's watch. Let's go. We'll ride from Greg Evans' first point of view. Justin Kirby has 3 cars in front of him, one of which is not going to bother him. That's going to be Callisto. That is the first car immediately in front of Evans there. I'll circle it for you in front of Kirby there. But there's Callisto right there. He has new tires. He's going to move right on by. Then that's Sam Crow. Sam does not want to get lapped, especially with 7 to go. So he's going to try to stay on the lead lap. And I believe that is Iridani and the yellow car that's staying up high. And they will probably just stay high and let Kirby on by. But wow, watch how much Evans gains now. 1.4 to Kirby. Coming off of 4 down the main straight, coming to 6 to go.
I said I thought Callisto might get back up to 7th. Don't know that he's going to get there. Michael Goodman would be next on the hit parade for 8th. That's probably going to be about as far as...
Goodman's on the lead lap, and Callisto is not.
Oh, Callisto's back on the lead lap.
He back on the lead lap? Actually, he's in front of the leader now. Yeah, that's right. True. He's up front. So
he naturally. And
now he's actually moved around Sam Crow, so he's in 9th. So he's got back on the lead lap. Yeah, you're right. So he I don't know. Yeah, you're right. He might not catch Goodman, but we're watching right now this battle for the lead here. 5 to go, and Kirby still with a comfortable 1.5 second lead over Greg Evans.
Evans still
Kirby has one win already this season. He got that at Michigan, and he is just really 4 laps away from getting win number 2 here at Homestead. But here comes Evans. Evans had to roll out of it a little bit longer than he wanted to. Iridani, he's racing Iridani now. This is just for track position. Getting by Iridani, going down low. Going to clear it down low, go move back up high, down the backstretch. Kirby wants to get around Crow. Crow does not want to go down a lap. Not after racing 130 laps. You want to go down, go down a lap in sight of the checkered flag. That's going to be the case for Crow.
There are other battles in the top 10, by the way. Matt Wagner is in touch with Evan Clapper. That's the battle for the final step on the podium. And Stretch Armstrong and Pepto Joe Flanagan have waged absolute war over 5th. I think they've traded that position at least 4 times in the last 6 laps. I think Stretch finally has him cleared. But Wagner, he's putting up a fight for that final step on the podium. And every position for him is extremely important. I know he's excited about Talladega. He seems to think that he's got a good shot there. But Wagner, he's right there with Clapper.
2 to go.
One miss hit for the 44, and we could have a swap for the podium. Meanwhile, Greg Evans, I don't think has enough juice to get to Justin Kirby here.
A strong final pit stop is what put Kirby, well, actually just strong pit stops all day. Started deep in the field, up 12 spots. Final lap, he moved up every time he hit pit road. Eventually, the last stop, he reached the lead. Once he grabbed the lead, he has kept the lead and has kept Evans really consistently at about 1.5 seconds behind the entire time this stint, looking for his 2nd win this season in the middle of 3 and 4. Justin Kirby off of 4 and looking at win number 2 in the ISRA. Justin Kirby, great run here at Homestead.
Greg Evans going to come home 2nd. The battle for 3rd is going to be won by Evan Clapper. The stock car race going to come home 4th. And how about Stretch Armstrong wrapping the bottom, taking care of his tires? He's going to come off turn 4 and come home 5th. Round out your top 10 here. Pepto Joe Flanagan going to be 6th. Rick D. Fallis 7th. Lionel Callisto got back up to 8th, so he did get by Michael Goodman in the dying stages. Goodman 9th. Rounding out your top 10, 1 lap down, Sam Crow. Mike Rigney, host with the most, brings it home 11th. Sexton 12th. Grandin 13th. Ben Morales 14th. Gallows 15th. Say Hey Lewis Hayes brings it back 16th, 2 laps down. And Eliza Indriani, the last of the runners, in 17th. Reagan Euler and Hearn do not finish. Those are your results from Homestead Miami Speedway tonight in the ISRA.
All right, and let's get in the... let's look at those final standings. We just need to cue things up here.
You know what the most impressive stat is once again, Gary?
No cautions.
No cautions. No cautions. Tricky pit road. No cautions. I struggle to recall if there was just, there might have been a couple of instances of light contact, but we didn't really have much of that either.
Kirby, your winner, 2nd win this season. Evans finishes 2nd. Clapper with his first podium of this season. He is 3rd. Wagner, critical finish, a top 5 for him in his championship run. We'll see how the points shake out here when they get calculated here, probably in the middle of these interviews. We'll keep you posted. Stretch Armstrong, 5th. Another top 10 for another solid top 10 for him. Pepto Joe, another top 10 for him. A solid run in 6th. Rick D, 7th. Lionel Callisto 8th. Not the finish he was looking for, but good recovery, and he got around Goodman. Goodman, our points leader, not the finish he was looking for, but he's going to survive to see the championship round. Sam Crow, much the same way, finished the lap down. This is probably his worst finish of the season. I have to go back and look, but a top 10 nevertheless. Moving on, Rigney 11th, Sexton 12th, Graydon 13th, Big John 14th, Hugo Gallows 15th, Say Hey Lewis Hayes 16th, Aaron Downey 17th, Chris Reagan 18th, Jake Euler 19th, running out of fuel and eventually withdrew, and Richie Hearn had some issue that we're not sure what happened, and he had the withdrawal as well, and he is 20th in our 20-car field.
Again, no cautions, caution free, not a single yellow light tonight. Cannot begin to express how impressive that is. And again, Gary, I don't think we had many instances of just contact.
Yeah, I don't really see very much of anything. Incident counts, really. I see some incidents, but the most I think is 4. Yeah, and they must have been just really light. I don't see Clapper yet, but I do see Evans. Let's go ahead and bring Evans into the booth. We'll wait for Clapper to show up if he has an opportunity to. We would love to talk to him, being it as his first podium. But let's bring up Evans, and we'll check those points. Hey, Greg, we got you here. We're going to bring you up early because we're not sure. We don't see Evan yet to show up in the waiting room, so we'll bring you up. Let's go ahead and get a start on the final interviews here for the podium. Good run for you. I think you really wanted to win today. The way that you kind of just got the pole and kind of took off there at the beginning, but was it just the pit stops weren't clicking as smoothly as well for you, and that's kind of what cost you, maybe?
Yeah, I think I had my mindset on trying to make a certain lap again with the fuel mileage, and I really think just track position got us on that last pit stop. I stayed out 2 more laps than I probably should have. I probably could have pitted 3 or 4 laps sooner and come out the pretty good size lead. But yeah, just kind of got behind Justin. Couldn't really push your tires too quick. It's almost like a Darlington. If you did, just burned them up, and just got herself in a bad position. And congratulations to Justin. He definitely earned that this evening.
Go ahead, Murph.
Yeah, so my question is, we saw you run both, top or bottom, and why? What would you prefer?
I preferred the bottom. The only reason I tried the top is I seen Lionel occasionally go up there, and I did it during practice. I would just sit there and watch lap times, try to run a smooth, consistent lap, see how if the top was coming in, if it wasn't. But it just seemed like the top never really got there. But on the last probably 5-10 laps, I tried to go up there just to see if there was anything else up there to be able to catch Justin, and just wasn't able to do it.
Yeah, good deal, man. No worries. Heck of a run. Once again on the podium, Greg. My other question to you is, how much of a lottery do you think Talladega is going to be, and what are your plans to avoid the well, I don't want to say inevitable because you guys are all really good, but what are your plans to avoid some of the things that happen when Talladega does Talladega things?
Man. Between us, Talladega and Daytona, I absolutely hate them. Man, it's all a chance. When you get there, you just don't know. I typically run pretty good there, but I just if you ain't got somebody pushing you that you trust, or somebody in front of you can push, you're just not going to go anywhere. You're just going to ride in the line and wait for the big one to happen, and yeah, it's just going to be a crapshoot. Unfortunately, it doesn't take a lot of talent don't say talent, but just a lot of experience to run good there. like it does most tracks. I mean, you can go up there in your first iRacing race and get lucky and win one. So, but we'll see what happens.
Gotcha. Well, good luck. I'm sure we'll see you at the front, Greg, and we'll see you next week.
Well, before we let you go, we want to do your shout-outs and everything, but I do want to update you because you are now the new points leader. You are tied with Callisto, but I'm assuming that the tiebreaker is going to be wins, which you do have the edge over wins 6-2 over Callisto. Michael Goodman is 1 point behind you two, and Sam Crow is tied with Michael Goodman. And then Matt Wagner, who really, I think, saved his season with the run today to get to the final race, is only 7 points behind Sam Crow. And in terms of getting to tying you for him, he's only 8 points behind you. So it's going to be a 5-car shootout going to this final race. But now, as we get into looking at points one more time before we get into the championship race on Championship Monday next week, you're going in as a points leader.
Yeah, that don't. I mean, I really don't know how the points work over at this league. I've really not been watching them.
Now it's time to watch them.
Well, I mean, going into Talladega, there's only so much you can do.
Yeah.
You know, if I got a chance to push Sam or one of my teammates or John or somebody like that to the win, then that's what you're gonna do. It's just thanks to Rigney for picking Talladega for the last race of the season.
Well, any shout-outs, friends, family, sponsors you want to say hi to before we let you go? It's a kind of a regular thing here on a weekly basis. We got you here in the booth, so go right ahead.
Yeah, like always, thank you guys for broadcasting this for us. Like I said, whenever you can go back the next day or throughout the week and just kind of watch the replays and stuff, and talk to your friends, show your friends. And it just makes it so much more interesting that you've got something that you can show people, and if you get bored at work, you can go back and watch it too.
There you go, yeah.
Occasionally hear your name brought up, so thank you guys. As always, thank Freightliner, Sim Magic, Sim Labs, and we'll just kind of see what happens next week, and we'll just play it by ear and see how we do.
All right, congratulations on the podium here. Congratulations on being the new points leader, and everything comes down to next week. We will see you then on Championship Monday.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good evening.
Yeah.
You do the same, boss.
Okay, I don't see Evan Clapper here yet, so we will just go ahead and bring in Justin Kirby. Hey, Justin, win number 2. Congratulations, sir. And really, it was the power of your pit stops really is what got you up there. I mean, every single stop you made, you went higher into the standings. Your first stint, obviously you're just kind of riding around in the back. We noticed you're like right around that 15, 20 kind of in the back. And then all of a sudden everyone started coming to you, and then that first pit stop hit, and then you're in the middle of the top 10. And then that next pit stop hits, and then you're leading, and then you're up at the front, and then now you got a shot for the win. Those pit stops were very critical to you getting up into clean air and getting that lead.
Oh yeah, they definitely helped me out. That's for sure. But would you believe I hate this place? I Homestead and I have a hate kind of semi-love relationship, and this kind of fell into that. Like I would have been happier if we would have ran the road course, honestly. But but the setup felt really nice, and I kind of found a little something on corner entry that kind of helped me out to keep the right front under control, and it just the center off was just really stuck with the car. And then when it got to pit stop time, it's like I wasn't fighting on glazed over tires practically to get down and in, so I could pretty much drive where I wanted to, and it slid a little bit, but I hit my marks, and it just the rest is history.
Go ahead, Murph.
Like you, I also love to hate coming to Homestead, probably for different reasons.
Wise man.
But I guess my thought is, what makes you? Do you feel like you picked up the time on entry, on exit, or on entry or exit for pit lane? This is a notoriously difficult pit road to get in and off of, and I just kind of wondered your take on it.
Honestly, it's a combination of the two because it's for me, it's like any pit entry, it's like you got to find a good mark, and I just happened to find a good mark to where to lift and start to bring it down, and the brake bias that was already set up in the car I didn't have to fight it at all, so like I get on the brakes pretty judiciously, and it would be very compliant. Then just making sure that you don't slide the car too hard on coming coming around to get back on the track, because I mean, you're basically on pea gravel every time you come out of the pit. So, and then just making sure you got a little bit of slide going, but just pull straight up and off as you're coming off, and it helps out a great deal. The flat track experience helps.
It's the little things that add up that other people aren't trying, and especially in a race when everyone's so close by tenths of a second to gain multiple tenths of a second is pretty crucial. So it's the little things that matter. That's for sure. Well, we're moving to Talladega next. You're not among the finalists here for the points, but you have worked your way up into the top 15 now with 2 wins. Talladega's next. It seems like it might be another one of those tracks that no one really likes.
Well, I mean, that's another one of those things. It's like either really, really like pack racing, or you're just out riding around just because, you don't want to lose the points. So for me, I mean, it has its moments being fun. But having your own fate kind of not exactly in your hands is the part I hate the most about it. So, but I mean, you can try to run in the back, you can try to run in the front. I think I've probably been wrecked in every position that you could possibly run in the standings at Talladega. There is no safe spot. It's just you kind of try to pick your spot where it looks kind of the calmest, and then hope for the best. At least for me, I mean, because I've always been one to be conservative on the plate tracks.
Me
the
too.
older I get,
Yeah.
So I like to try to keep her in one piece, and then it's. But I mean, you might see a bunch of 3 wide with the way they have the drafting model right now, and the way that everybody can push. So I don't think anybody knows what to expect tomorrow or next week.
Well, I mean, you definitely have nothing to lose going into next week's race. And right now there's a whole bunch of people tied at 2 wins this season compared to Greg's 6. You could break out in the second place of the wins in the league if you get that 3rd win. So, something to think about if you have the opportunity presents itself. But shout outs, friends, family, sponsors, anyone you want to say hi to before we let you go on this. I think this is your 3rd podium now?
Oh,
2nd win, 4th podium? I think it's your 4th podium, 2nd win, yeah.
Guy, Jesus. I appreciate it. No, it just guys say thanks to my brother Brent. He'll be along. It's just give him some time, and then Black Magic Motorsports with the team and the guys, and guys I've been forgetting to miss. The one guy got out of the car, Williams Performance, does shocks up in northern Indiana, running around CRA country. So
that's your neck of the woods, Murph.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, anybody running up there, run street stock late model, he does shocks for all the paved oval guys, so, or for a lot of paved oval guys. So check them out if you're up there. And yeah, just thanks to you guys, P1 and everyone running and showing us off that pretty high clip. And yeah, looking forward to some more.
Our pleasure. We'll see you next week when we go to Talladega.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah. I sent a message to Evan over in on the Discord to see if he wanted to, but for some folks, they do have to get up and work tomorrow, and it is about 11:15 or so Eastern time. So for some folks, it might be just straight to bed. I don't blame them for that matter. Mer, final thoughts, and this is really your final thoughts for the season. Unfortunately, you will be indisposed next week on vacation someplace sunny or so with the family, and we'll have the pinch hitter El Patron Antonio Estrada here in for you. But you've been here pretty much all season long. You've seen the action unfold. It's got to be bittersweet not to be here for the final race. I'm sure you might be watching, or definitely we'll check it out after the fact when we get the next week's stream up. But your final thoughts on today and final thoughts for your part of the season leading into the final race at Talladega.
These races never cease to amaze me, and always in a good way. So. Tonight we had several different variations of guys running two stoppers. We had Lionel Callisto do the triple stop. I think he drove back up to 8th. Had he committed to that earlier, he might have finished quite a bit better. And so it goes to show you there's more than one way to do this, and that's kind of the genius of Mike Rigney in this league. Also. The other bit of it is, frankly, you and I talked about it. Not only were there no cautions tonight, but there were very few instances of contact, so few that we struggled to find them. And so what an amazing compliment that is to these guys. I take away from this season just an amazing run of green flag races that were all thought-provoking. As you know, Gary, I have a very strategic mind when it comes to these races, and so I'm hyper appreciative of racing that makes me think, and certainly Mike Rigney's done that with this group, and I'll be watching next Monday night. I'll be on the beach in Pensacola, and I'll tell you what, I can't wait for is it trucks we're going to be doing
trucks
after Labor Day?
Yep, me and you will be kicking off the truck series on August 19th. So we'll be starting off a little bit later than normal, 9:45 p.m. That's to give the guys on the West Coast a little bit extra time to jump in, maybe get some a little bit more participation in the races. But the Truck Series Season 2 kicks off August 19th, and Little Birdie tells me the season opener, even though the schedule is not out yet, the season opener might be at Charlotte.
And that's always fun in the truck. So love a good truck race, and these guys put on a heck of one of those. It'd be good to see some of the West Coast guys get involved. I know there's several of them on the shelf, just because it's a little bit early, but an extra 15 minutes can help them out. Yeah. And I really do look forward to it, and it's been a pleasure. I got to thank Mike Rigney and you, Gary, for having me. I got to thank all my guys over at IR and Black Magic Designs and Admin Box, P1 Broadcasting. We gave it a good ride tonight too at Homestead. Just came up a little bit short of the top 5, but we'll take anytime you can run in the top quarter of those 5,000 SOF top splits. You're doing something right. So there's no shame finishing 6th in that field. So we'll take that and go on down the road too.
And Cody in chat saying hi. Hey, how you doing, Cody? Shout out to you. So I guess next time you and I are together, it's about 3 weeks from now. So we'll have the off week after Talladega, and then the 19th, you and I will be back here in the booth, 9:45 p.m. Eastern Time, over on P1 Broadcasting. And we'll have to get everyone a link to P1 so they know where to go. But just search it out in YouTube at P1 Broadcasting, and I'll bring you to the channel. Subscribe, and then you can hopefully I'm trying to get the thumbnails done so we can get the new races posted so everyone can start setting notifications. But that's the next time Mark and I together. Mark, just to let you know before we go, 100% green flag racing again for this race. That is a third race out of the last 4 races that we've been at 100%. The season total for the Xfinity Series is 97.479% green flag racing overall for the ISRA. That's trucks and Xfinity, 96.667% green flag racing.
It's incredible.
Well, folks, that is going to do it for tonight. Your podium as we are leaving Homestead and going to Championship Monday at Talladega. Justin Kirby with the win. Greg Evans with a strong second place. That gets him to the points lead. He is tied with our Truck Series champion, Lionel Callisto. Evan Clapper, who I don't think is going to show up for an interview, he made his best finish. And Wagner changed his Discord name to now IndyCar Expert.
He will always be the stock car race. Don't not let him fool you.
No, go back and watch it. Go back and watch the race. I put a graphic up that said stock car expert underneath his name at one point. But Evan Clapper, congratulations on being third on his best finish here in the ISRA. Join us again next week for Championship Monday for the first season of the ISRA, as the teams and drivers will throw caution to the wind and decide the crown at Talladega. Who among these top 5 will take the title? Will it be longtime Lionheart veterans like Wagner or Callisto, or will it be one of the newcomers like Goodman, Crow, or Evans? You got to tune in and see. Coverage begins around 9:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, it's 9:35 p.m. Eastern, as always. For correct broadcast times in your area, you can find everything here at YouTube at youtube.com/ well, just search out FTN Broadcasting. That's the best way. Just FTN space broadcasting. Find them, and you will find us next week. Now, as you know, the YouTube gathering of the game is not easy, so please help support P1 and FTN with the weekly ride. Leave a comment below and let us know you thought of tonight's race. And if you enjoyed tonight's coverage, support us by smashing a like in the video. If you're new, click subscribe, and while you're at it, hit the bell for weekly reminders so don't miss out on more of P1 and FTN's other iRacing programming, including next week's championship race at Talladega Championship Monday. You don't want to miss it. Track cams today provided by Whiplash. Special thank you to Whiplash Sim Cams for being the official camera pack provider for P1 Broadcasting. To learn more about Whiplash, follow them on Twitter or also like them on Facebook. Links are in the description. So for Mark Murphy, everyone here at P1, FTN, and the ISRA, I'm Gary Gotzo saying all good night. Thanks for watching, and to all our men and women serving in the military and as first responders, Godspeed, God bless, and come home safe. Catch us again right here next week for Championship Monday at Talladega for the next race of the ISRA Xfinity Series. Good night, everyone.